A woman in a crimson hanbok, barefoot, soaked, silent, hair loose like black silk clinging to her pale skin. She walks slowly, as if gliding across the earth, her head bowed, a low humming spilling from her lips, an old lullaby with no words. She doesn't look up. She never speaks. But if you follow the song, you'll never return. Our story begins in a quiet village in the southern province of Joseon, a small, forgotten place surrounded by forest and fog, where time seemed to move just a little slower. Here, people lived simply. Farmers, potters, washerwomen. Children played by the stream. Old men played baduk beneath ginkgo trees. But during the rainy season, no one stayed out after dark. Not since the well turned black. The first to disappear was a boy named Doyen. 7 years old. Bright-eyed, curious, he loved to chase frogs in the fields and listen to ghost stories told by the village storyteller, old Uncle Huang. It was on the first night of monsoon season that Doyen vanished. His mother said she saw him just after dusk, chasing something red into the trees. She thought it was a kite, or maybe a bird, but when she called out to him, he didn't turn back. They searched the woods all night. They found his shoes by the old stone well, just the shoes. 7 days later, it happened again. This time, a girl, 9 years old, quiet and polite. She went out to feed the chickens before the rain started. She never came back. By the end of the month, 3 more had vanished. Each time, only when it rained. Each time, near the well. The villagers whispered of curses and spirits. Some said it was a fox in disguise. Others spoke of a wronged woman seeking revenge. But no one really knew. Except, perhaps, for Granny Yua. She was the oldest living soul in the village. No one knew her real age. Some said she was over 90, others claimed she was 110. She lived along on the edge of the forest in a tiny slanted house filled with jars of herbs and scrolls and bones. She rarely spoke, and when she did, people listened. One rainy morning, after the 4th child disappeared, she came down to the village square and said 4 words. "She has returned again." The villagers froze. "She's not a ghost," Yua said, her voice rough as wind through reeds. "She's a memory, a wound the land cannot close." And then, slowly, she told them a story. It was during the reign of King Sunjo, many years ago. There once was a woman named Arian, a giseng, known for her haunting songs and unparalleled beauty. Men would travel for days just to hear her sing beneath the lanterns of the giseng house in Jinju. But Arian had no love for the lords or scholars who sought her. She loved only one man, a young soldier named Kang Mu. They met by chance, during a festival. He bought her a persimmon, and she laughed. They walked by the river, reciting poems, sharing secrets. It was the kind of love that lives in the spaces between war. And soon war came. Kang Mu was called to the front. He promised to return. She gave him a red sash from her hanbok to wear under his armor, a charm, a memory. She waited 1 year, then 2. But Kang Mu never returned. No letter, no messenger, no body. The world moved on, but Arian could not. The Guseng house saw her mourning and grew impatient. To them, she was just a flower to be sold. So, they did. A nobleman from the hills, rich, cruel, and lonely, purchased her. She was dragged from the Gisang house on a rainy morning, the red Hanbok clinging to her like blood. She refused to smile for him, refused to sing, refused to let him touch her. And so one night, they killed her. They buried her in an unmarked grave behind the hills. And the next morning, the well turned black. Some say the nobleman's entire family died within a year. One fell from a horse, another drowned in his own bathtub. The eldest son vanished into the woods and was never seen again. But the body was never found. And from then on, whenever the rain came, people began hearing the lullaby. Granny Yuhua warned them again. She doesn't take vengeance. She takes memory. The young, the curious, the ones who still believe in love. Never answer the lullaby. Never follow red. But people don't listen. Especially not outsiders. That's when he arrived. His name was Seong In-ho, a scholar from Hanyang. He had heard rumors of the village and its ghost tales and thought it would be a fine story. He was writing a collection on Korean folklore. True or not, he didn't care. He interviewed the villagers, took notes, visited the well. He even spoke to Granny Yuhua. She walks with the storm, the old woman warned. If you see her, turn around, and whatever you do, don't follow. In-ho smiled, nodded, and went back to his room. That night, it rained. It began softly, just a drizzle. The sound of water dripping from rooftops, the rustle of leaves. Then, the humming. Faint, distant, a woman's voice with no words. In-ho sat up in bed. He lit his lantern and stepped outside. The sound was coming from the trees. He followed it. Past the well, into the woods. The rain grew heavier, drenching his robes, but he didn't stop. The song pulled him forward like a thread. And then, he saw her. She stood beneath the trees. A woman in red. Soaked, still, silent. Her hair hung like black ink, her hands at her sides. She faced away, humming. In-ho took a step closer. The lantern flickered. Then, she turned. And there were no eyes. Just black. A hollow face where a face should be. No nose, no lips, no soul. He screamed, the lantern dropped, and everything went dark. They found him the next morning, curled by the well, shivering and mute. He never spoke again. Only wrote one sentence, over and over. She has no face. To this day, the villagers still listen for the rain. They teach their children to close the shutters and light red candles, and when the lullaby comes, to never, ever answer. Some say she still waits for her soldier. Others say she walks because the land remembers what the living forget.